All right, today we're tackling a silent threat that's lurking inside so many businesses. Really, really old technology. It's basically a ticking time bomb, and we're going to look at how companies are trying to diffuse it through something called Legacy System Modernization. You know that feeling, don't you? When you're trying to do something simple, but the software is just painfully slow, clunky, and it keeps crashing. It's like you're trying to stream a 4K movie on an old dial-up modem. Well, that frustration is exactly what huge organizations feel. But for them, it's on a massive, business-breaking scale. And look, this isn't just some minor annoyance. It's a real, genuine threat. We're talking about a hidden danger coiled up inside these businesses, a tech time bomb just waiting for the wrong moment to go off. So what exactly is this threat? Well, they're called legacy systems. The best way to think about them is like the crumbling foundation of a big skyscraper. From the outside, the building might look totally fine, but underneath, the very structure holding everything up is old, fragile, and getting more dangerous every single day. These are the critical systems that run, everything from our banks to hospitals, and a lot of them are decades old. And the dangers, wow, they are very real. You've got a huge risk of system failures, which means costly downtime. The performance is usually terrible, which frustrates employees and drives customers away. And the security gaps? They're basically a giant welcome mat for cyber attacks. On top of that, you can't connect them to any new tools, so innovation grinds to a halt. And all the while, the cost to just keep these old things running skyrockets, sometimes eating up 80% of a company's entire IT budget. So yeah, it sounds pretty grim, right? But don't worry, there is a way out of this mess. We're shifting from the problem to the solution, and that solution is called modernization. This is the strategic game plan for turning these massive liabilities back into valuable assets. So, what is it exactly? Well, the key thing to get is that modernization isn't just about giving the old software a fresh coat of paint. It's a deep strategic upgrade. It's a deliberate process to completely overhaul these old systems to make them way more secure, able to grow with the business, and frankly, just much better at their job. At the end of the day, the goal here is total transformation. You're taking a system that's rigid, brittle, and stuck in the past, and you're rebuilding it into something that's flexible, secure, and ready for the future. And you know what that means today? It means being ready for the cloud. Now, this whole thing might sound like a huge, overwhelming task. And to be fair, it can be. But it's not some big mystery. There's actually a proven playbook, a clear, structured path that helps companies get through it successfully. We can actually boil this whole journey down into 3 main phases. First up, you have to assess and plan. This is where you figure out what you've got, what the biggest risks are, and make sure your tech plan actually lines up with what the business needs to do. Then comes the really heavy lifting, modernize and migrate. This is where the old code gets updated or refactored, which is just a fancy word for cleaning it up to work better. And the whole system gets moved over to a new platform. And finally, you can't just flip the switch and walk away. The last phase, optimize and support, is all about fine-tuning the new system and making sure it keeps delivering value for years to come. Okay, so what does this actually look like out in the real world? Because this isn't just theory, right? Modernization is creating some incredible, tangible results across pretty much every industry you can think of. Let's just look at a few examples here. In banking, it's about getting away from those risky old core systems and moving to secure digital platforms with things like real-time fraud detection. In healthcare, it's about finally connecting all the patient data securely. For retail, it's about building that seamless omni-channel experience where your online and in-store shopping feel perfectly connected. And in manufacturing, it's about trading in old ERP systems for real-time tracking on the factory floor. So after all of that work, what's the big payoff? Why do companies put themselves through such a complex process? Well, it's all about one thing: becoming future-ready and cashing in on some serious business benefits. This chart just lays it out perfectly. It's a night and day difference. You go from having weak and vulnerable security to being strong and compliant. Your costs go from sky-high maintenance to much lower operational spending. Innovation goes from slow and painful to fast and agile. Your ability to scale is no longer limited, it's designed for growth. And maybe most important of all, your operations go from being fragile and risky to resilient and dependable. And that really brings us to the most important takeaway here. Modernization is about so much more than just getting some shiny new tech. It delivers real, measurable business value. It makes a company more competitive, more efficient, and a whole lot more secure. It really is a strategic investment in survival and growth. So to wrap this all up, I'll just leave you with this question to think about. In your own life, whether it's at work or at home, what is the most outdated, clunky system you have to rely on every single day? And just imagine for a second, what would change if it were finally modernized? Something to think about.